About the architecture of ABAP system as well as Java system. So first we are going to discuss about ABAP architecture. So as I said, what is SAP system? SAP system is a combination of one database instance plus one or more application server. SAP system is a combination of SAP system. It is represented by three characters. It's a combination of is equal to one database instance plus one ASCS instance plus one or more dialog instance. So what is an instance? Instance is a nothing. Instance is a combination of process plus memory. You can say instance. Instance is nothing. Instance is also known as application server. Application server is also known as instance. It's a combination of process plus resources. Resources could be memory, CPU, disk. So instance and instance is represented by number. SAP system is represented by three characters: instance or application server. It is represented by two-digit number. Instance number 00, 01, 02, like this. So in SAP database we are already having one instance. So it will depend on the database. So DB instance will depend on the database. DB instance will depend on database. Database we could have Oracle database, HANA database, IBM DB2 database, MS SQL Server database, MaxDB database. We are having different databases, so the architecture is different for different databases. But when we talk about ABAP instances, ABAP instance, we are having three types of instances in ABAP. We are having ASCS instance, that is ABAP Central Service instance. We are having primary application server and dialog. Dialog instance, we are having two types of dialog instance: primary application server and additional application server. So ASCS instance contain what services? It contain the message service plus NQ service. Dialog instance contain what? Dialog instance contain these components. They contain the dispatcher, work process. They have dispatcher, work process, ICM, then gateway, then dispatcher, work process, ICM, gateway, and IGS, Internet Graphics Server. Till here everything okay? Able to understand? I can show you the complete architecture here. So now you tell me, with this architecture, I am going to show you practically everything. We just go to one system here.
Sorry, I need to back to the previous slide.
Yes, I'm just coming. Yeah.
I need to know, this gateway and the IGS. What is the IGS for?
Yeah, IGS, I will explain. IGS is for Internet Graphics Server. So whatever you are seeing in the SAP GUI, it is coming from the graphics, Internet Graphics Server. Gateway is used for communication between two instances or cross application. CRM system is communicating with ERP system using gateway. ICM is required to communicate through browser. Work processes, we have different types of work process: dialog, upgrade, background, spool, we are having four type of processes. What is the purpose we will see later on, and then we have the dispatcher. So we can see the complete representation. I am just going to show you practically, so you can see the practical thing here, and you try to relate these things. So I am going to show you this. What is SMA? What do you understand by SMA? What is the what is very good?
This one is this one is SQL.
No, no, no. What is SMA? SAP system. You are right. This is a system. SAP system. SAP system is what? SAP system is what? SAP system. Three characters. Are you able to see?
Yeah.
So SM, I will just write it here. So you will getting the complete idea how the things are working. So we got SMN. SMN is our SAP system. SMN. This contains what? This contains the instances. Are you able to see the instance? 8081. Are you able to see? 8081.
Yeah.
80 and 81. These are the two instances. So 80 is our what? We can see the process. It contains the message service and NQ service. Which kind of instance it is? ASCS is ASCS instance. So it is SMN. SMN is having yeah, that this is SAP system. In this SAP system, we got one database. Database you cannot control because it will depend on the database, and it is having 80. This instance is representing your ASCS instance because it contains the message service and NQ service, and 81 is your primary application server. We will see the 81 also. 81.
And this can be considered an application server.
These are the application server. Yes, these are the application server. Instances is known as the application server. It can run on one machine also altogether, or it can run on different machine also. If all the instances are running on the same application server, then it is known as central instances. And if it is running on the different machine, then it is known as distributed instance. Okay, so we got. So you are able to see we got the SAP system SMA. This this is SMA. SMA. This is SAP system. It contains the database instance. It contains 80 ASCS instance. It contains the PAS. So whenever we are making a connection from SAP GUI, we have to make a connection to the instance number 81. We cannot connect to 80. Why we cannot connect to 80? Because we connect to the dispatcher. Dispatcher is present into the 81, not in the 80. We will try to connect with this one. Okay, so we are having SAP GUI.
Yeah. Sorry for interruption. How can I get the same screens as the previous one? You mean the one before this?
Okay.
The one which is
This one?
SMA. This one, yeah. How can I activate it from my machine, or I can see it?
Yeah, you can
Which
see.
code?
You can see at OS level. You have to log in at the operating system level. So you can go to the operating system. If you want to log in through operating system, you can log in through operating system. Uh, uh, you can go to search the remote desktop connection from here. If you want to go to this screen, MSTSC, remote desktop connection, host computer name SM host, then connect the user ID and password. The user ID password would be SMA ADM and password is secret 2023. I just write it here. If you want to connect to this machine, you have to go to the remote desktop connection.
Is this tools or this component installed when installing Solution Manager, or
This is all. This is already installed. So you can do the remote desktop connection. You can go to SM host type, and the user ID password you can type user ID. You can use the user ID SMJ ADM, and password you can use secret 2023 S capital letter. If you want to log in at OS level, and then you can start a tool. Tool name is SAP MMC, Microsoft Management Console. Then you can see these things if you want to. But later on you can also, I will show you how to perform these things. I'm just trying to explain, that's why I have opened this one, so you can relate the things here. We have the system, SAP system. This contains the database. You can see the blue color. This is our database. Database is running under. After that we are having 80 and 81. 81 instance we are having dispatcher plus work process, IGS, gateway, ICM. Now whenever we are making a connectivity from SAP GUI, now I will try to make a connectivity from SAP GUI to connect to the server. Connection. So whenever we are making a connectivity, we are connecting to the dispatcher, SM host, instance number 81, instance number 81, system ID SMA, finish. And if I just change it, I make it to 80. We will be able to connect or not? Because it is having two instances, 80 and 81. 81 is having the dispatcher.
Not able to connect.
Yes, because you are absolutely right. 80 it should not be able to connect because it is having the message service. It is not having the dispatcher. It is not having the dispatcher. Dispatcher is running on 81. So we will now try to make it to 80. Okay. We will now try to connect to the, you will not be able to connect. You will be getting this kind of message. So this is architecture. So you have to understand, we will see each of these things in detail. So first you have to understand what is SAP system, what is an instance, different types of instances, what are the components, we will discuss now. We will discuss each of these components in detail, we will discuss. So first you have to understand what is system, what is an instance, what is a different types of instances we are having. And I am recording this session also. I will upload on the YouTube or some channel that you can access anytime later on. Okay, so now we will go through the presentation. Explaining the basic architecture of ABAP and Java systems. Okay, so we are having three layers: presentation layer, application layer and database layer, though this is known as R3. Presentation layer, you have already seen how to connect with web browser, business client, SAP GUI. You have already experienced these three things in the previous exercises. Now on application layer we are having the instances. These instances is also known as application server. So don't confuse with application server and instance. Both are same. Application server and instance, both are same. It's a synonym. So on application server, we can have multiple instances, or one server we can have multiple instances, or one server we can have one instance also. So one primary server is required. Additional application servers are optional, and this is the mandatory part. Central service instance and primary application server. Additional application server is for scalability. Suppose on one application server 10,000 users can log in, not more than that, and your organization required 20,000 users have to log in, then you can install additional application server. Now 30,000 users are required. After 2 years you can install one more additional server. Again 40,000 users are required, you can install additional application server. So you can have how many maximum application server? 100, because each application server is represented by a number from 00 to 100. Database layer, you are having one database instance. These are the ABAP processes. So whenever we are going to connect, the dispatcher process is going to communicate, then the request come to the dispatcher, and then dispatcher distribute the request to the dialog work process. Dialog work process is used for interactive login. Suppose I want to take the backup, I want to run a report in the background, I can schedule in the background. If I want to update anything into the database, it is update process. Spool process can be used for printing. You can see all the processes. Which T code? What is the T code to see all the process? SM50. SM50 is the T code. You can see all the processes. SM50. Are you able to see how many dialog work processes configured here? 32, right? Update 3, background 6, spool 2. Are you able to see, right? How many application servers we are having here? How many dialog application servers we are having here? How to identify? How many application server you are having? SM51. Are you able to see? I am having two application server, 11 and 12. I am having two application server and one ASCS instance. ASCS instance is mandatory. That would be there. And I am having two application server as well as one database instance. Then we got the message service. Message service is required to communicate between the different dispatchers. NQ service is for the lock. Suppose I am editing a table. I am editing a table. I am editing a particular table. Now you try to edit this table. Anyone can please try to edit this table? Just go to BD54 or I will show you here. I am logging with another user ID. I will log in with another user ID. I will log in with train-20 user ID. Password welcome 2023. Okay. Now I go to edit this table. Two users can edit the same table at the same time? No. If two users are editing the same table at the same time, then the system will be inconsistent. So are you able to see some information here? I cannot edit, right? The data is logged by the user and displayed only. You can display the log data. So this lock mechanism is done by which process? Locking is done by which process? NQ server. NQ server. You want to see this process? We can see now. This is running where? This is running into the central service instance. Are you able to see the NQ server? This is only one process, not multiple, only one NQ server. It is maintaining the lock in the system. If this process shut down, then your system will become inconsistent. So most of the companies are using ERS server also, NQ replication server also. They have the replica of this server also. This is optional part, but if you want safety, you can set up a high availability for NQ replication server also. Then ICM. Now two systems want to communicate. Now you are able to see my system. What is this system? Are you able to see what is the system where I have login? In which system I am login? Are you able to see?
Okay, S4D.
S4D, S4D, right. I was just checking whether I am audible or not, maybe sometime. Okay, so this is S4D
So
system.
checking with you, with
Yeah.
you. No problem.
Yeah. So this is S4D. Now this S4D system want to communicate with the solution manager. So how it is going to communicate? Now you can see here SM59 ABAP connection. Let's see. Okay, I will make a new connection from here. Okay. So I can now remote log on. Now before this I can do the connection test. Right now I'm into S4D system. Now I want to log in into the uh, 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 solution manager. I can do the remote log on. Now you can see here the system got changed. SMA. I am login from so now suppose two programs want to communicate. They can use this RFC. RFC you can monitor using SMGW. So gateway is required. SMGW gateway. So now you can see here two systems are communicating.
Sorry, Sanjay, can you repeat this from the first? I got confused.
See,
Create the connection from the S4D to log on directly to the Solman. This
yes,
is the way you can use to make a connection between two systems
yes,
using the RFC.
yes, RFC. This is the RFC. This is the thing that if two programs are going to communicate, suppose one program is running in one system, two programs want to communicate, they are going to communicate through RFC. For RFC, we require this component, gateway. This gateway is required. So you are getting, this is the gateway process, like this is the gateway process. You can see practically gateway here also. This is running on a particular instance, gateway. This process is running. If this process got stopped, you two systems cannot communicate with each other. Two application instances cannot communicate with each other. So this process is responsible for communication between two instances. Then ICM, if you want to communicate through browser, that we have already seen. If you want to communicate through browser, we require the ICM. If ICM is not there, you cannot connect through browser. Web dispatcher is an additional component. If you want to use load balancing, we can use the web dispatcher. This is not included. So you can see here there is no web dispatcher. Dispatcher is there, but there is no web dispatcher. There is a separate component, separate software is there that you can use for load balancing. So these are the processes related to ABAP system.
And I think this should be a system user for each of this instance to be used, or this services to be used as the communication user.
See, system user, yes, when we are like setting up this communication between, it should be system user. You can use any user ID, but if you use any user ID, then if suppose the password rules applies, password rules applies to the normal dialog user. System user, no password rule applies. So in that case, we should always use system user ID. You are absolutely right. We should use, if suppose I have used my user ID and my password got changed, my user ID got deleted, then obviously it got failed. So it should be system user ID, right? So this is the architecture. Again, you can see when end user can use browser, SAP client, SAP GUI for Windows, they are going to connect to application server, primary application server, dialog instance. So whenever they are going to connect, they are going to connect to the dispatcher only. Browser, when you are connecting through browser, the browser is connecting to the ICM, Internet Communication Manager. ABAP dispatcher is communicating with the message service. ABAP dispatcher is communicating with the NQ service. And we are having the gateway also. Gateway, and for scalability, suppose one application server can accommodate 10,000 user. So for 10,000 user, this is okay. Additional 10,000 user, we can install additional application server. Additional 10,000 user, we can install additional server. We can install multiple application servers. Java processes, in Java system, we are having ICM, Internet Communication Manager, and we have the server process. We don't have dialog, background, and spool. And we are having the message service, NQ service, and the gateway. In Java system, we don't have these processes, background, dialog, update, and spool. We have only one process that is known as server process. Now you want to see the Java architecture, we can see the Java architecture. This is ABAP system architecture. Java system is also same, 3-character ID, SMJ. Here also we have the one database instance, one central instance, one is primary application server. In primary application server we got uh, Are you able to see? ICM and server process. ICM and server process. Whenever you have made a connection to the instance number 91 using browser, host name, SM host, then you type 59100. So you connected to the ICM and ICM is connected to the server process. ICM server processes. And this is our central service instance. In this central service instance, we are having three things: message service, NQ service, and gateway. Message service communicating between the different ICM process, like which user is login, how much response time is there, lock is maintained by the NQ server, and if two Java systems also are going to communicate, they are going to use the gateway service. So Java systems you can connect through browser. You cannot use SAP GUI because GUI also requires, or SAP GUI always require the dispatcher. Java system we don't have any dispatcher. It is connected to the ICM, Internet Communication Manager. Request is coming from here, and we are having scalability purpose. We are having many instances, and central service instance contain the message service, NQ service, and gateway. Okay, so now exercise number 6, you have to examine the application servers of SAP system. So how to examine the SAP application servers? You can just type the three code SM51. ABAP system you can check SM51. In SM51 how many dialog application server you can see? Here we are having only one application server, and if I go to S4D system, SM51, we can check we are having two application server. To check the message service, we can run the transaction code SMMS. SMMS is a message server. To check the gateway, we can use SMGW gateway. We can use SMGW. So these are the T code you have to check and verify the setting.